Good morning and Boker Tov. It's wonderful to be here together on this Friday morning and this Erev Shabbat. I hope that everything is good with each of you. Please feel free to share a greeting with others as you make your way in. Also, a reminder that we have our very special and meaningful and moving slichot service on Saturday night. Not really just a service, kind of neither theater nor shul, a combination of dramatic and religious moments to help us prepare for the high holidays. If you've been there in the past, I hope you'll join us. If you haven't, I hope you'll join us for the first time. Boker Tov to Sulang and Seymour and Deborah and to everyone who's here with us on our service this morning. To all, Boker Tov. Welcome to Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. Temple Sinai Congregation of Toronto's daily opportunity to connect, to reflect, and to remember. I'm Rabbi Michael Dolgan. It's a meaningful and a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Good morning, Alan, and good morning, Annette, and good morning to everyone who's here. I hope that today can be a meaningful day as we prepare for the second to last Shabbat of 5785 of this year. But first, let's just awaken with a sense of gratitude and appreciation for our bodies and for our life as it is. So please join me in this prayer for our physical functioning to the degree that it does. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yatzar et ha'adam bechokma, uberavo nekavim nekavim, chalulim chalulim. Galui v'yadua lifnei chisech vodecha, שאם ייפתח אחד מהם, או יסתם אחד מהם, אי אפשר להתקיים ולעמוד לפניך. ברוך אתה אדוני, רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. And let's join together in our prayer for the soul. The soul that you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. And let's join together, Lasok b'divrei Torah, reaffirming our commitment to learning, to a life of creating Torah for others, of appreciating and learning the Torah that's been created for us, and of building a world of open minds and open hearts. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. V'arev na Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu, v'fi amcha beit Yisrael, v'niyeh anachnu v'tze'etzaenu, v'tze'etza'ei amcha beit Yisrael, kulanu yodeh shemecha, v'lomdeh Toratecha lishma. Baruch atah Adonai, hamlamed Torah le'amo Yisrael. Elu dvarim shein lahem shiur. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud av va'em, to honor fathers and mothers, ugmilut chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness, vashkamat beit midrash shacharit v'arvit, to attend the house of study morning and evening, v'achnasat ochim, to welcome the stranger, uvikul cholim, to visit the sick, v'achnasat kala, to provide for brides and grooms, ulvayat hamed, to keep faith with the dead, v'yun tefillah, to pray with sincerity, v'hava'at shalom ben adam l'chavero, to make peace when there is strife, v'talmud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Well, please join me in these Birchot HaShachar, so that we'll have said in these blessings of the dawn, we'll have said 18 blessings before we recite Shema together. And the first one on the top of the next page, Matir Asurim, releasing those who are held captive. It has to be recited both entirely in Hebrew and half Hebrew, half English, as a sign that we will not forget the hostages. We will not allow the normalization of their imprisonment and mistreatment. Please join me in these blessings. We'll do the first one entirely in Hebrew, the second one half Hebrew, half English, and onward we go, except for that one. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lesechvi vina, lahavchin ben yom uben laila. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, you have created me in the divine image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you have made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sha'asali kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you open the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you release those who are held captive. Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you maintain the balance of land and sea. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you surround Israel with strength. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, oter Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you give strength to the weary. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hama'avir shena me'enai, utnuma me'afapai. And having recited now 18 blessings together here as a community, we now turn to the words of Shema Yisrael, these words that talk about unity, about the unity of God, about therefore, because we are all connected through the Divine One, that all of us are connected to one another in ways that buoy us and in ways that challenge us. So please join me in these essential ancient words. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי רגליהם לדורותם, ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו, וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Well, on Fridays, it is our way to look beyond our community or its immediate concerns to the outside world. And what goes on in our world these days, at least in the last couple of days, has been dominated by reactions and counter reactions and accusations and counter accusations around the murder of right-wing political activist Charlie Kirk in the States. And while this event didn't happen here, it's part of a larger trend in our world, a couple of them that I think are quite important. Actually, three that I want to relate to that I think are interrelated. One, the increasing use of violence against those with whom we may, in general or profoundly, disagree. The increasing sense that someone with whom we disagree is our enemy is something that we don't see uniquely in this moment, but we see expressed constantly in democratic societies these days, here in our Canadian society. And the ability to disagree with one another in a more meaningful way, in a more civil way, is an essential thing. So it points out this week does, together with so many other events, the need to reject this kind and judge those who carry out violence. Our community has been a real victim of those who believe that their feelings or opinions about Israel or the war in Gaza give them rights to respond violently against those who support the state of Israel, as an example. And we must reject that. However, there are two other trends that are within this that affect our society at large and our people in general, and I think that need to be acknowledged at least as much. One of them is that so much is being said about this event, the assassination, the murder of Charlie Kirk, um, as if we know what happened, as if we know the criminal, the motivation, etc. And even when we lack evidence, the willingness of people to project their narrative either before there is evidence available or regardless of evidence is also extremely dangerous. People asserting, that they have their truth, as if truth can be manipulated and belongs to one or the other, or their set of facts. Facts are real and must be collected and respected for our society to survive, not assumed or dishonestly manipulated. And so it worries me that so much assumption and projection and accusation is taking place in the absence of those facts about this particular piece, as that happens so often. There is an additional trend that really I don't think is being mentioned as much. So much is being concentrated on the fact that the victim of this shooting was, quote unquote, a champion of free speech. And the ability to say things and to express our opinions and to argue about the way the facts should be interpreted That is something of great value. And in addition to that, we should be aware that free speech is a complex and challenging value and requires responsibility of those who use it, because whether or not such speech is allowed or protected, there is a difference between making an argument against someone with whom we disagree and using words to dehumanize the person with whom we disagree in order to weaken them and their argument. And in our larger society today, there is a mixture of these two things as if they are the same, as if the right to express one's opinion and interpretation of the facts is identical to the right to attack the other person verbally and to describe them in a way that limits and eventually takes away their humanity. Students of actual genocide and students of the Holocaust are well aware of the role of dehumanization as a step toward violence and genocide. And our people continues to live the trauma and the danger of these steps, where we believe that because someone has a different position, we can use speech to take away their humanity, to simply insult and demean as opposed to discuss. And this is a trend throughout our communities, and especially when major figures like the President of the United States are constantly demeaning those with whom they disagree, and acting as if they can do so with impunity because of free speech. We must be aware that such free speech is not free at all and comes with an enormous price. Um, I'm myself a great believer that we grow when we have contact with and connect to and discuss respectfully or meaningfully with those with whom we disagree. But to then use words and actions, and then eventually more actions, in order to dehumanize and disregard and degrade the people with whom we disagree is horrific. And regardless of the law, it's not about whether it can be criminalized or has been, but it's about our willingness to reject those who do it and demand of them that they behave better and use their voices in order to step back from these steps that lead to a greater violence in our society, to a dehumanization of the other. We know that the Jews and the Jewish community are quickly moved to the top of that dehumanizing list. But even were that not to be the case, this sense that verbal violence is to be honored and protected is a disease on the society in which we live. Let's use our words to honor those who stand with us, who stand for Israel and for us, and yet do so praying with our values that what they do might be limited as far as possible to what is necessary um, to fight an evil and genocidal enemy, in this case, very complex, but that might somehow lead to a better world, a world without the need for the incredible chaos and violence that is war. Please join me in this prayer for the soldiers of the IDF and all who stand on guard for us. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, אמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל ושאר מגיני עמנו העומדים על משמרתם. ישמרם הקדוש ברוך הוא ויצילם מכל צרה וצוקה, מכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ויקוים בהם הכתוב, וכיתתו חרבותיהם לעתים, וחניתותיהם למזמרות, לא יישאו גוי גוי חרב, ולא ילמדו עוד מלחמה, וישבו איש תחת גפנו, ותחת תאנתו, ואין מחריד, ונאמר, Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless the soldiers of the IDF and all who stand on guard for us. May the Holy One guard them against all difficulty and distress, injury and illness. May all of their actions bring blessing, fulfilling the prophet's words. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, and may they learn war no more. May all sit under a vine or fig tree, with none to make them afraid. And together we say, Amen. And now let's join together in our prayer for those in need of strength and healing, for those who are ill or unwell or injured, those who are isolated by illness or infirmity or age, those painfully who continue almost getting closer and closer to 2 years on to be criminally and forcibly isolated by terrorist Hamas, our hostages. And for all those, we have many with whom and for whom to pray. And so for those names that have been given to me and given to Temple, for those who have, who are going through so much, for those names that are placed in the chat in this and other services, we turn to these words of refuah. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה, רבקה, לאה ורחל, הוא ירפא את כל מכותינו. יהי רצון מלפניך אדוני אלוהינו לחלימם ולרפאותם, וישלח לנו מהרה רפואה שלמה ועטרת שלום, ונאמר אמן. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and let us say together, Amen. Well, it's very meaningful to me for us to have this opportunity to be here together, to connect and to reflect. And it is now time to remember. And so our prayers turn to those who have died in recent days and weeks, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we've taken into our hearts with our own. During the last 30 days, the period of Shloshim, we extend our condolences to the families of Beatrice Rose Liss, Judy Tessler, Lainey Kaplan-Page, Aaron Sherman. And it is our sad duty to report the death of Elaine Sina, mother of our member Alana Sina, and Andrea Mintz. Our condolences to the entire family. The funeral will take place today from Benjamin's not from Benjamin's, but Graveside at Pardes Shalom at 1 p.m. Graveside, Pardes Shalom, but additional information is available on the Benjamin's website. We also remember all victims of war and terror, including terror victims Idan Shtivi, Ilan Weiss, Yosef David, Sarah Mendelson, Levi Yitzchak Pash, Jakob Pinto, Mordechai Mark Steinzag, Israel Metzner, and the following IDF soldiers whose lives have been lost in the last 30 days: Ori Gerlich, Ariel Lubliner, Uri Lamed, Amit Aryeh Regev, Gadi Kotal, Matan Abramovitz. And on Yahrzeit, on the anniversary of their deaths, on this 19th day of Elul, the 12th of September 2025, we honor the life and legacy on Yahrzeit of Gisela Braun, Gerald Antman, Francis Goldman Malkin, Sadie Jacobs, David Linsky, Lily Macklin, Edward Maurice Rossman, Louis Kalman Schiffman, Rose Summer, Elsie Tenen. Zichronam Levracha. May their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words sanctified by memory, words glorified by hope. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemeh rabba, be'alma divrach yehutzeh ve'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו, אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort and strength to all who remember. And together we say, Amen. Boker Tov, Temple is grateful that a contribution has been made today to the Minyan Fund by Tanya and Paul Braun, observing Yahrzeit for Gisela Braun. And we hope that everyone has a meaningful and beautiful Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Again, please join us toward the end of Shabbat at Shul on Saturday night at 9 p.m. for our amazing, beautiful slichot reflective moment and service and experience. I really think you'll be glad you joined us if you do. And I wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a good day. Boker Tov.